It's like Infinity War and Endgame. Now, I'm not saying Madam Web is like Infinity War in terms of quality. It is a lot worse. However, unlike 99% of people, I don't think Infinity War is actually that good. I don't think Endgame is that good. Infinity War or Endgame do have a few scenes that are pretty strong, do have a couple of scenes that are visually very amazing, a few good scenes, some great character moments, but the vast majority of both are kind of a waste of time. But there's a waste of time, and then there's like active brain damage. And Madame Web is in that rare category. You will probably be getting dumber and dumber by the second watching every frame, because it's not just that the story doesn't make sense or it's illogical. These are movies, they're fictions. Who cares if they make sense? The problem is, what did we get out of this? Well, the best I can figure out, and I am not exaggerating, is Pepsi. I'm not joking. Like, if you get anything from Madame Web, it's Pepsi. Because Pepsi is a better character than most of the characters who are not characters in Madame Web. Pepsi is all over the place. Pepsi's at the beginning, Pepsi in the middle, Pepsi at the end, Pepsi cans, Pepsi icons, Pepsi billboard, Pepsi store. Just a lot of Pepsi. The Pepsi was insane. Let's get to the story, which is magical spider people give Madame Web Mama magic powers, which transfer to Madame Web. Why don't they just transfer the powers to the mother? Don't know! They're gonna give it to the Cassie. Cassie is Madame Web, who drives an ambulance in New York in the early 2000s. Oh, don't worry. They don't care about that, because even though this is set in the early 2000s, so yes, you will hear a Britney Spears song. That was well done. But then you will see technology that is 20 years in the future. So is this like a science fiction Christopher? Is it like Tenet? Is this Christopher Nolan? Are like we zipping into the past future, which is the present? Is it Interstellar? No, they just got lazy. They just got lazy. Oh, that's right. Sony, which made this film, which is getting money from Pepsi, they're promoting their own products. They're promoting their own products in a way that destroys their own story. They don't care. They're like, yeah, set it in the early 2000s. We got the Blockbuster, we got our Pepsi, we got Britney. Stick in Sony products from the future. How? Why? Exasperating bad on many levels. It just does not take its own story seriously. Who would? Like, the magical spider people look terrible. They look terrible. Latin America has many mythologies, including, yes, La Araña. So, there's something here. Did S.J. Clarkson put any work in? Not really. So it's insanely racist, insanely sexist, insanely just dumb. Insanely dumb at every moment. Probably the worst thing here is Ezekiel, the bad Spider-Man. Now, I want to be clear, I am a hardcore Spider-Man fan, but I gave up. And I'm not joking. Just recently, I finally broke my cherry. What destroyed me with Spider-Man was the Clone Saga. Don't ask. Don't ask. It is one of the worst things of all time. It might even be worse than Madame Web. It might be one of those rare 1 out of 10 stories. It is horrifyingly bad what they did to Spider-Man. So I read Spider-Man pretty religiously from the late 80s canon to early 90s. But my jam is the early 90s. But I stopped mid-90s. So Ezekiel is from the late 90s. And yes, he's barefoot in the comics. And that just shows you where Spider-Man was. We went from the Vulture, Ock, Venom. Remember Venom? One of the greatest characters of all time. We went from Venom facing Spider-Man to guy who was barefoot. But he cannot talk. And I don't mean he, the actor. I mean literally he cannot talk. Because what? The sound effects or the dialogue or the looping, or did the studio mess up? I don't mean Sony, like the recording studio. Did they not get it right? Because he sounds like a broken robot. Not like R2-D2 or Yoda bad. We're talking like he halt speeches the whole film. I am Ezekiel. I must destroy you. I need magic spider. You no give. I will shoot you. I will begin plot. We jump to future. I evil Tony Stark. I have money. In big apartment. I kill sexy older woman. I must kill spider women. I had vision of them in the future. And I must stop them before they kill me. He talks like that for the whole thing. I'm like, what is happening? Is it the actor speech pattern? Did they get like really bad recording? Redubbed it? They messed it up? Something is just off with the voice and the sound and the... Oh, but by the way, the sound in general is stupid. The sound effects are lousy. Like, they don't have any real consistency. Like, for whatever reason, Bad Spider-Man does have spider powers, but then isn't using them effectively. Like, apparently he can scale walls like the real Spider-Man, but then magically when he needs to scale a wall, he can't. Why are you running? There's nothing to run away from. You can see into the future. So what is this, like a prophecy? She has to go to the Pepsi store? Oh, sorry, the firework factory. Yes. Because the fireworks will hit Ezekiel and he'll be like, oh, I got hit by a firework. Damn, they really tricked me. So I'll give them points. They actually shot this in New York because I know New York. I've been there a ton of times. So certain things here do seem like it was shot in New York. Okay, good for them. Good points. Here's the thing. New York, you know what New York has? Guns. Right, it's fiction. We're not really killing a real person. You could have done that 20 times. 20 times. You know what kills the evil Spider-Man? Pepsi. A Pepsi sign killed. You could have killed him with a shotgun, a normal gun. Just taser the guy. Oh boy. And that's how she gets blinded, by the way. That's the circle of life mythology, because she becomes blind because the firework blinded her. And then we get the Spider Woman at the end. And listen, Sydney was pretty sexy in her Spider Woman outfit. She seemed in character. It looked promising for about 2 minutes. So Madam Web has about 5 good minutes. For its running time, that's not enough. It does have good cinematography. Some camera angles were intriguing. They shot on location. Yeah, this is like 2 out of 10 territory. It just feels that the writers, the producers, and the director are like, yeah, you know, it's just fun and silly. It's like a really bad horror movie. But even bad horror movies really get things right, whether the costumes, the makeup, and or the sound. You know, people who work in horror movies, they actually do try. There really wasn't a lot of trying here. They're like, you know, it's like, you know, it's Dakota, it's the 2000s, she's listening to Britney, she drinks Pepsi, and this evil Spider-Man, oh my god, he's misusing the magics. She's got to stop it. Okay, God. That's it. That's okay. And that is the great narrative storytelling you're going to find in Madame Web. Magic spiders, Pepsi signs, Sony product placement, and a woman who can see into the future and cannot find a single weapon to stop the bad guy in universe for hours in New York. Modern New York. 2000s New York. 2000s, where everyone's hyper paranoid about terrorism. She could have just faked out. She could have just started screaming at the police or some military officers, because there's a lot of military presence in New York. Believe me, you're going to see soldiers with machine guns in the subway. For whatever reason, all the soldiers with tons of post 9/11 machine guns, they're not there. They magically disappeared. You know, all the police with their dogs sniffing bomb threats, magically they disappeared. They don't exist anymore. She could have done that. She could have just panicked a few dogs and a few police and a few FBI agents, trick them into shooting at Ezekiel, which is easy to do because he's in a bad evil Spider-Man outfit. He looks like a villain. He's literally killing people in broad daylight in New York. In New York, broad daylight, post 9/11. Like, she can't find a gun in the near vicinity of a train station. Like, apparently the subway is in the middle of Idaho. Anyway, so crowds of people. She can't find a single weapon. Like, she could have just gotten a keychain. You know? She could have gotten some, like, wire. Just choke him to death. It is, like, so bad. So bad. So it's just like, oh, Jesus Christ. A lot to complain about, but, gotta give Madame Web this. It's made every film in 2024 look a lot better by comparison. So they did something there. I mean, I don't think it was a good thing, but, you know, hey, if you ever want to get into filmmaking, you will probably never do something as really bat crazy stupid as this. So have hope. Maybe you can do it. Maybe.